Hey fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. Today I wanted to talk about playing style, and the reason I started thinking about this is because I got a very interesting post from Coach Evan. You've seen it on my YouTube channel. We haven't done a podcast in a while. I've been all over the place, Spain, Malta, and working on other things, so not had time to do a specific podcast. And usually we do very long ones, so I'm thinking we're going to do an audio-only podcast, but he still produces content. He has his own site, Maverick Tennis, and so you can check that out if you're interested in more about Coach Evan. But he wrote a post today about the brush up. A lot of coaches using the brush up. He thought it was a lazy term. He usually has some strong language. I think that is good. Sometimes you don't need to use the most polite way. He has a funny tone of voice, and I actually enjoy his stuff. I find it to be quite refreshing in a way. So check out Coach Evan's posts. And here he talks about actually modernizing your coaching and making it more for the modern game. And the question is, does everyone need to have a modern forehand? No, but there are small corrections you can do to improve your game. And he points out that a lot of coaches stay in the same patterns over and over. They keep giving the same advice, and they're not seeing a lot of improvement perhaps with their students due to that. So you have to actually rethink how you do things over and over again. And obviously he takes from his own experience as a lifelong coach and all the mistakes he's made. It was a very interesting article, I thought, especially about the personality part, because he says that your personality influences your game and your style of swing and so on. And it's something I think about because as a tennis player, I am generally quite aggressive. I'm quite aggressive as a chess player as well, although aggressive in chess might sound weird to you, but meaning in the style of play. Trying to go for the kill relatively quickly. Is it impatience? What is it? I just like the flair and the elegance and the kind of aggressive style and going for the highlight reel. That's really my style of play. It's not the best style of play in general to win matches, especially on the level I play, because you have to have a great day to actually have a chance of winning a match against good players. So you're giving yourself little room to maneuver and to you have to really make those shots that you aim for. But it's hard to not go for them. Maybe you relate to this. Maybe you have the same issue, or maybe you have the same tendency to go for too much too soon. Sometimes you feel like Federer. Some days you feel like complete crap. So it's a tough thing to navigate. Trying to play more passively is not that easy because it's something that's inherent in your style and maybe due to your personality. I'm not an aggressive person, but I do like, art and flair, and I do like the beauty of the sport, and I think playing that way is kind of more important than winning for me. I think that is how my personality gets into tennis. I was always a music lover, into arts, writing books and all that stuff. So I think I take that into my tennis, and I'm not the most competitive guy, which is also a sign that I'm kind of more natural as a creator than someone who competes. I think that is definitely true for me, and that makes it very difficult for me to go into these tournaments. I've talked about the ITF Masters, and going with the 100% will to win always, and because I know really it's not the end of the world to lose the match, and I just want to have fun and play some good tennis. And I know that's not the best attitude to have. Then I have my friend Bas, for example, who I play with when I'm in Malta, who plays very, very focused, consistent, doesn't take any risks, never really misses, or obviously he misses, but compared to me, he doesn't miss much. And very solid player. He's also a professional poker player, and a very good one, and has a very strong read on the opponent and can really manage the risk calculations. And where I am more a guy that would go for the risk, that's why I can't play professional poker, because I would be a little bit too much all over the place to play consistent professional poker. So I think that is one way that it relates to your personality and how that gets into your playing style. And what Coach Evans says is that it's important that these two align. And I think that was one of the most interesting takebacks, because I feel better as a tennis player when I play aggressive tennis. I feel that I'm enjoying it more even if I lose. And that happened in the ITF Masters, the last tournament I played, when there were matches where I actually really enjoyed. Actually, only one match, but it was a match I really enjoyed playing. Because I felt like I could play my game. And although I lost that match, it was a hard-fought affair and a fun match. And I think that is quite important, that you feel like you're enjoying yourself while you're on the court. It might be time to just free up and let yourself play the style you like. Obviously, you might need to dial down the aggression if you play Federer-style tennis, which is what I like and which is what I look up to in tennis players most of the time. But obviously, very few can play that successfully, so you might need to find your way of doing it and not going bananas with crazy flare shots that are not making the lines on that day, and you end up losing pretty badly, because also you will beat yourself that way. Not everyone can play like Novak Djokovic, of course, so it's about finding the style that works for you. And for example, Bas is a big fan of Novak, and he plays a bit like Novak in a way that he doesn't give you anything for free. It's all up to you, and you get some awkward shots, and if you make a mistake, he punishes you, and that's very impressive. It's almost like AI tennis. I cannot even mimic to play like this. And Evan remarked that he, as a person, he's a prankster, a little bit of a manipulator. He likes reading what the opponent does and then using that against the opponent. I mean, being very deliberate about his tactics and using tactics heavily. And understanding how to beat the opponent or let the opponent beat themselves, which is another way of playing tennis, completely different from my style of tennis. And I also noticed that he actually enjoys watching that type of tennis, the more kind of chess strategic type of tennis that Djokovic and Medvedev produces, than watching the flair of guys like Musetti, Shapovalov, and Federer, because that doesn't really appeal to him. And that's the fun thing, that you can actually have your favorite player and you can watch that player for different reasons. And I love watching the flair guys. I just enjoy it, even if they miss and you can be frustrated. But I just like the attempt of going for something big, and that's just something that resonates with me. And I'm keen to hear now what resonates with you. What kind of playing style do you have, and does it fit your personality? Is it something that actually goes together? Or are you playing a different way on the tennis court from what you behave like maybe in real life? And this might require some self-reflection on your end, which I think is generally healthy. And it's an interesting discussion as well, like if you actually feel like you're playing better or getting more out of your tennis, not necessarily winning, but just feeling better, having more fun on the tennis court when you actually play the style you feel natural in, you know? So it's like putting on a jacket and feeling like this is a good fit, this is what works for me. And that's how it should be with rackets as well. You should take it up and it should just feel natural from the first hit. You shouldn't have to force it. That is what life is in general, like finding, whether it's relationships, rackets, cars, or whatever, when you feel that kind of first love, or that it's just a natural fit. I think it's really important to chase that feeling. That could be just my romanticist brain talking, because I am a romantic and I do like this larger than life type of stuff. So let me know what you think about this topic and how you perceive your game. And I think this is kind of important, because if you align these, maybe you will win more matches or just enjoy tennis more, or have less anxiety about losing. Because I feel like when I'm playing freely like my style, even if I lose, it doesn't feel nearly as bad, because I felt like I played well. And I think that is an important thing. Then obviously I want to win as well, but that I need to work on my will to win and my ability to find a way to win in tough moments. That's all for this one. I thought this topic is quite interesting. Read the post on tennisnerd.net. I will invite Evan to the Tennis Nerd podcast, where we'll have a discussion about this topic and others. But I'm keen to hear if you have any questions for Coach Evan. Do you want to hear us talk about some certain topic on the podcast? Let me know in the comments. So I'm looking forward to that conversation, and I'm looking forward to hitting the tennis court tomorrow and playing my style. And we'll see how far it takes me. That's all. Have a nice day, and don't forget to play some tennis.